It's a time! China time with a package from China. Let's go! Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in because in this video we're going to take a close look at the Beelink, the GT King. The King has returned in number 2. In this video it's going to be quite a bumpy ride because it's absolutely like a mix of, let's say, good and bad things when it comes to the new GT King. I was really expecting a lot of it because, let's be honest, the GT King and the King Pro were like quite interesting products, especially when you're looking into the gaming and emulation. But so we do have like some better specifications now in combination with a new chip that we're going to talk about, some more memory, and storage capacity is unfortunately still the same. Inside the box we're going to get the same product like the previous models. We're going to get ourselves the air remote. This thing is going to be connected with the Bluetooth connectivity and not with the dongle that we've seen with the previous models. We're still going to get ourselves the barrel jack, like power supply that is just in 24 watts and in combination with 12 volts, 2 amps. When you're looking at the appearance of the GT King 2, it's almost, better said, it is almost the same like the freaking first model. They did change out this logo over here. We're doing like a quick side by side. We do have still the very cool light up eyes. Over here we do get ourselves 2 USB ports, a micro SD card input here. At the back we're going to get ourselves the fiber out. Then we have like the headphone jack out, the RJ45 Ethernet connection, HDMI, and then we have like an extra USB 2.0 port. But that's it. It's like the same stuff that we've seen before with the first model. Now we're talking about the first model, that is number 1 over here. And I must say that I was hoping to get like a better performance when it comes in overall, not only the chips but also when it comes to the cooling. So maybe some new connections like the Pro model that has some extra USB ports. Nope, nothing of that kind. So they just upgraded the chip in the inside and that's the only thing. So let's take a close look at the specifications, and here we do have some newer chip inside, but when it comes to the specification in general, I'm not excited. So we do have, like, for example, a GPU that is a Meny G52 that I've seen many times before with Android boxes. So like it comes with Android 11, that is interesting. I think the biggest upgrade is the RAM having like now 8 GB. So it's still like got 64 GB eMMC for the ROM, but nevertheless, let's do some emulation and other testing to see what is in the end, what are we going to get with this. But let's connect this bad boy and let's do some testing, play some games and try some emulation. Because when it comes to the software in general, it did have some problems with it, but it was quite annoying. So when powering up, you will be reminded that you need to connect your remote, giving you the 2 options with the Bluetooth remote, but also with the dongle itself. The layout of GT King hasn't been changed whatsoever. It's basically the same like the first model. We do have the option with the Play Store, that is very convenient, but do have like Android 11, we do get on different, like say Play Store, I'm going to show you later. Another thing is like if you want to add yourself like in the quick menu at the right side, what you're going to do is click on here, you're going to put a certain amount of apps that you want to use. You can just very easily add and remove them over here. So the system itself is exactly the same. But let's talk about the Play Store. The Play Store itself, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I find navigating through this quite difficult, especially when you need to get into the right top corner. It's like a lot of mumbo jumbo with the remote to get there and try to search function. Another thing I've noticed when you're going to implement some emulators for either SX2 or the Dolphin, I couldn't download them through the store itself. So I need to basically like sideload them with an APK. Not a big of a deal, of course, and the same goes for the Dolphin MMGR. But when I've done this, there were some problems I've noticed, kind of weird. So basically if you want to add a game to your library, all the apps will shut down or just give you an error message. So there was something wrong with the file system, and this whole system has been implemented on the system, even like 1 or 2 of them, but somehow nothing seems to be working. So I came across this problem multiple times with different emulators. So all the applications have the rights to use the internal storage, but also somehow there is some mismatch with the software itself. So out of the box, I think it's absolutely garbage. I did manage to get some emulators to run just to benchmark. That's the thing that I wanted to see here. What can we actually play on this? So here I will give you like a quick overview. It's like a lot of mumbo jumbo setting it up. I will make like a separate video if you want to do like a full tutorial how you need to get PlayStation, Dreamcast and all the other stuff on your Android box working. For PlayStation 1, the first test I wanted to do is see if we can play this game in 2 times the resolution, because that would be like a very cool thing to do on the box. But already you can see like it dips up to 40-50 frames per second in the character selection screen, and unfortunately when playing the game it's not going to be any better. With this new GT King, I was hoping to get better performance overall when it comes to PlayStation 1, because we do have so many ways to play in original resolution, and in my opinion this is not really like unplayable, but there's not the experience you want to have. So I went back to the menu, I just went to the video preference and just basically set it back to 1, and what you will see is that the game runs way better now. For the people who have no idea what I'm talking about basically, so when you're looking at the previous GT Kings and all the other Android boxes, you can play PlayStation 1 on the original resolution without any problems nowadays. And I mean like the S905, X3 and some other ones like run the PlayStation 1 pretty damn good. And unfortunately with the GT King I was hoping to get a better performance with this chip. But let's get into the Sega Dreamcast, and here we get the same performance like the previous models. With the Dream Emulator in combination with Full HD, we do have like an amazing performance with some Marvelous Capcom or Soul Calibur. But let's get into the PlayStation Portable, because that's basically the most demanding that we can run on this system. So I wanted to start out with Wipeout Fusion, one of my favorite games to test and play. So without any frame skipping, you can play up to 61 FPS, but I've noticed when you're going to, let's say, get into wild action with some shooting and explosions, you will see the frames absolutely dip into the 50s sometimes. Unfortunately, that's something that is unavoidable because the chip itself is not just powerful enough. Of course, if possible, we need to talk about the God of War situation. So with some frame skipping, we can able to play this thing on the GT King 2. But yeah, if you want to have like great performance, it's absolutely unavoidable again to like you need to implement frame skip, because this thing is not powerful enough. And I think it's a little bit of a bummer, because nowadays we have like so many like mini PCs with some bottle share that can play this game actually pretty damn good. So what I wanted to try is some Daytona with Sega Saturn, and with this system you can see we do have not like the perfect 60 FPS, so frame skip should basically like enable to get like a great performance and stable FPS. Again, if you don't really mind it and if you don't see the numbers, maybe you don't even notice it. So that is basically what you're going to get with Sega Saturn. It's a quite, let's say, difficult thing to emulate on a box like this. Even with newer chips we're still going to get the same issues. Another thing I wanted to try is some Sonic R, just on the same emulator, the Yaba Shenshiro 2 Pro with the Sega Saturn, and I must say that we do get like similar results over here, and better said, like it even plays worse than Daytona, and that's a little bit of a bummer. I must say, like, I find Sonic more playable with lower FPS, but I personally really hate this game. But beside that point, yeah, we do get similar performance when you're looking at the previous models of the GT King. But if you want to use the Android box just for watching television or watching on YouTube, I must say it doesn't really disappoint here. Here we do see on 4K, we do get like a very stable FPS, and we do have like an amazing, let's say, experience when it comes to watching some 4K videos. So already, like, that is something you don't get disappointed with. Take consideration, it's a rooted device, so Netflix will not have the same support in 4K. Unfortunate, we did have some issues also installing it, so even if you're going to like sideload Netflix, we do have like the same problems with the previous GT Kings. So in that case, I think it's a big bummer, but for that, you can still watch them 4K on YouTube. With Android 11, I had some issues that I couldn't like even download some Minecraft. But again, like maybe that will be fixed in the future. I just tried some Asphalt 9 just to see how it will perform. So for Android gaming, I think the GT King is absolutely a king. It's powerful enough to run most, let's say, more demanding games. But take consideration depending on what you're going to play. Asphalt 9 was just a random game I wanted to try out because I think it's a very cool game to play. But later on, if you want to, we can do some more testing with some different games just to see what can we actually download and what can we play on this. But what I've seen and what I tested, so far I can see like the GT King 2 doesn't really disappoint and does have like the option to play a lot of Android games on this thing. But let's take a close look with ADA64 inside the machine itself. So here you can see the manufacturer, the model number, the brand, the board, device, and especially like how much installed RAM this thing has. Alright, so here are like the storage capacity, everything checks out like it says on the box. Then we're having the 8 cores in total, 4 times the ARM Cortex A73, and then we have like 4 times the ARM Cortex A53. So then we have like all of the cores installed and everything works like a charm. Then we have the screen resolution in combination with the GPU, the Mely G52, and the GPU also has 4 cores in total. So here you can see this thing is running on Android 11, the red velvet cake, and it is a rooted device, so we'll have some problems with Netflix, so we can't run it on full HD or 4K resolution. A little bit of a bummer because I do use Netflix a lot. But the thermals, there we're going to get some interesting things. Here you can see like this device even like go to 59 up to 60 Celsius. So I have this fun kind of product I wanted to try out for a very long time. I also wanted to try something that I picked up a very long time ago, this thing called the Radiator Mini Fan. So this is basically an extra fan you can implement under your like Beelink or other Android box. Just slap this thing on the USB, and what you're going to get basically is the construction that we have like better cooling. So I'll give you like a quick example. So you plug this thing in one of your USB ports. Unfortunately, you need to basically use one of them, and we only have like 3 of them. It just spins. There are some rubber pads on here. Where you're going to put on it, you will hear like some vibration. It's a little bit more noise. But let's look at the thermals now. The box itself does have like a little bit better cooling performance with the extra fan attached to it, but it's not like the best convenient thing. There is one thing particular that I found even more interesting when we're going to open it up. So with the Teardown, I've noticed that the thermal paste was not great, so I have this special, let's say, thermal removal. So I've been like scrubbing it all off and just to see what kind of chip that we're going to get. But in the meantime, I just replaced it with some Noctua special like thermal paste I got with my CPU cooler. Replacing thermal paste will give you like an advantage. Now it runs around 46 degrees and even like lower, going low slowly to the 45. And this is without the cooler. This is just pure passive cooled. A little bit funny. I just noticed it that the thermal paste they were using was absolutely garbage. So replacing it with some good one from Noctua, for example, it gives you like a big advantage. So let's do a quick teardown with the GT King. I just wanted to show you what is in the inside. The construction itself, it's very basic. It's just a plastic plate that click together. I personally really hate this rubber compound plastic because it's going to get sticky over time. It's just a fact. The part of the PCB, what you can see over here, has been mounted with 4 screws. So far I can see quickly, yep. So let's get myself a screwdriver and let's remove those. It's going to be quite messy. So basically I'm having this thermal material remover, and that thing that I want to do is like basically make it wet so we can just remove it fairly easy, and that is something that we finally did. Alright, so I scrubbed it all off. Let's get a cleaning cloth and let's clean it up. So when the 4 screws have been removed, you can very easily like lift the board out. And let's take a close look at the cooling, what they implemented in this. Let's see if I can get it out because it will struggle a little bit. Another thing I find interesting, you do have like a battery in here. I don't recall that it had like in the previous models, but let's be very gentle. You can see the wire for the Wi-Fi connectivity is on here. So this is basically the construction they made in the inside. We do get this gigantic metal plate that is for cooling, trying to basically get rid of the heat of the GPU and the CPU, GPU or the chip itself. The PCB, yeah, the construction, I should like do a side-by-side comparison maybe in the future so we can see the side-by-side comparison, what they did, what they changed out, did they do any some different layouts, but there was nothing, yeah, there was nothing much to see over here. So what they did do is like over here putting for the Wi-Fi connectivity on the top, so we have like the best connection. This cable over here is just for connecting the light up eyes. I must say that I think it's pretty damn cool that they still have this function. And let's see if we can remove it very gently. It looks like it's clicked on here. There we go. Alright, so here we have like an extra piece of metal. Just be very careful with that. So here we have like the chip. I think it's still with a thermal, oh man, like different kind of material they're using. It's already like very kind of different material. It's not like your typical pad they're using here. You can see like it crumbles already, so it's not great. So here we do have like the 2 chips for itself for the RAM. Already showing you a couple of them. This I'm seeing the storage capacity over here. But let's see if I can remove it, because I am not a big fan of this to remove it, simply because I think I need to remove this and just implement some new thermal paste. So let's take a close look at the chip, and indeed is the AM logic over here, the A31102. So yeah, it's kind of messy, so the thing that we need to do is like going to clean everything up over here. Going to clean everything up because it's a freaking mess. And then we're going to slap some new thermal paste on this, and we're going to put it back together. Seeing they released the GT King 2, I was excited just to see there was something new. Finally a new King has arrived. But unfortunately, when you're looking at the performance and the overall experience, I am disappointed. Not only the build quality, not only like the heat that the thing produces, like the cooling is the same, this plastic fantastic case, there is nothing like say special about it. Yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of the GT King 2. I think you can still use your old one because the jump up is like so minor. No, and not even to talk about the software. Maybe in the future they will fix the software in combination with some MULX so we can have more like option with this. Yeah, but we'll make an update about it. For now, I want to thank you for watching. Consider subscribing, hit that little bell, become the Wicked family, and it would be great to see you in the next video.